Hi, I'm the Global Runner and I'm trying to see if I can still run fast aged 51. So far I've run a 16:01 5k, a 33:02 10k, and now the next step is trying to go under 2:30 in the marathon aged 51. In this episode I run a full out 400 on the track, and stick around to see what time I do that in. We have a day off for Canada Day, and so I do a belter of a run. And I do some more camping supervision, so go for some serious runs out on long country back roads. Exercise of the week this week is an absolute classic, and I did what my girls say is my main character moment in doing this. We got the push up or the press up, depending on where you're from, and this is obviously mainly upper body, but we spend so much time focusing on our legs that I felt it was time to remind ourselves that upper body is equally important. So to quote Megan Trainor, the training week this week was all about the base. We started off with the full out 400, and we'll look at that in just a moment, but the rest of the week was easy running, just trying to get as many miles under my belt as I could. And Tuesday was the start of July, and I've said for a long time that July really is the time when I'm going to try and get as many miles under my belt as possible. So just focused really on making sure that I was running easy and trying to get as many miles as possible. In this case involved shorter runs, but doubling up on a lot of the days. And I think that's a good way of increasing mileage without too much risk. The key to this all along is making sure that you're running easy and you're not overextending. There is plenty of time for New York. We're not out to break any records. This is just a question of getting miles under the belt, getting gradually fitter. And I always find myself being really impatient in these miles, but this is the time to just make sure that everything's moving perfectly and build a solid base for what's to come. And with that done, let's have a look at the week in a little bit more detail, starting with that session involving the full out 400 meters. We're off to the track. So we are going to hit some speed today. I think the main aim of today is to get an all out 400, but of course I'm an old man, and so I can't just go and do an all-out 400. So I think I'm going to do some 200s and some 400s, just like alternating, and then see what I can do for a flat-out 400. I haven't done this for like 2 decades probably. I was probably 30 the last time I ran a flat-out 400. So it's just going to be me on my own down the track, see what we can do. Do we think sub 60 is there? I mean, that feels massively ambitious. Maybe 65? Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm really interested to see. First set done, 33:69. Okay, that was a 31 and then a 68. I'm happy with that. I'd have been happier if it was 0.2 of a second faster, like 0.2 of a second faster, and I'd been under 60. That would have been amazing, but I'm happy with the way that went. I think the plan now is to start building up the mileage. We've got a few more days till we hit July, and then I'm going to start sort of tracking the actual mileage in July and really try and pick it up. But I'm still going to do some of those shorter, faster sessions hopefully once or twice a week, just to keep things fresh and moving. And yeah, I really enjoy them. So isn't that what we're doing it for? So yeah, happy with that and very pleased that I got that close to 60. Here we go. Hey, so it is July the 1st, which, as we all know, is Canada Day. And July is the month that I'm going to be trying to get as many miles as I can. So that's the plan for July, is to try and hit a ton of mileage. See how many we can get. Is 400 too many? 500? That seems a lot, doesn't it? So as many miles as we can, and we're going to start that with a real Canada Day event. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run from Canmore to Banff. So there is a mountain range just over there, which is called the Rundle Mountain Range. And I'm going to run from the east end of Rundle in Canmore all the way to Banff. I reckon it's like 25k, something like that. But what better way to spend Canada Day? So the first part of the run involves quite a steep, gradual hill out of Canmore. And it goes on and on and on. And if I speed it up now, you'll see that this climb goes on and on and on. And actually my drone ran out of batteries halfway up this hill. This is probably about a 4-kilometer hill. And you can see that it gets up to like 20% at some points. Can get a little bit dusty, but today it wasn't too bad. There's been a lot of rain. At one point I catch up my friend who was out on a bike ride with his daughter. They were going to do some crazy downhill biking on the left off the side here, but I caught him up and that was super fun chatting with him on the way up and meeting his daughter. So that was really good fun. I enjoyed that, but this was really the start of the run. We still had a long way to go yet, but it was good to know that once this climb was out of the way, the rest of the run was pretty much a nice gentle downhill all the way into Banff.
Looking the salt off the road. All right, mate. Okay, so I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Wow, that's the town of Canmore down there, so that's where I just came from. And this is what's behind me. It's almost like a lunar landscape, it's crazy. So I'm headed there, and I'm going to turn right and go behind that mountain range there and head to Banff. We are currently at 5,500 feet. Don't know what that is in meters, and we've climbed about 1,100 feet. So I think this is the highest point, and we've got a nice gradual downhill all the way into Banff, which is still a long way. Cheeky little reminder. Okay, so we've got 18k. Okay, well, this is the first sign of bears. I gotta say, I'm no expert, but it looks pretty fresh. It's definitely today. It's in the bright sun and it's not dry at all, which, you know, is a bit gross. But this is the path we're on, and we're still heading down. We're about 16k in. Okay, so I just had a little dip in the river there, so my shirt is soaking. But those guys back there, one of them is going to Colorado on his bike, and the other guy is going all the way to Mexico. They're doing the Tour Divide or whatever. So That's pretty cool. They've done about 9k so far, so they've got a long way to go. Good for them. Okay, that'll do. I'm going to walk it in from here. That's 18 miles, 2.5 hours. That's enough for today. I don't need any more. I've got about 2k to go. I'm just going to walk it in. Sometimes you got to recognize when it's too much.
So that was a great week of running. We hit over 100k for the first time in this build, and I really saw July the 1st, which was Tuesday, as being the start of the build. That was basically like 4 months before the New York City Marathon. So we've still got a lot of time, but this was where things really started getting serious. Very happy with the 400, but for now we're going to increase the mileage. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.